Good afternoon, boys and girls. We are in beautiful Somerville, New Jersey. Gonna go grab some lunch. Look, it's Jordan behind the camera. I got a cameraman today. Somerville is one of these quaint towns. We used to live not too far away from here, but I love coming here just because it's up and coming. Within the past 10 years, in the past 10 years or so, it's gone through a renaissance of sorts. A lot of new businesses. So, and I've eaten at a lot of them. So what we're doing is we're actually going to one right now. And we'll see you when we get over there. It's kind of a windy day today. Windy, and a little cool, a little cold. It's sweatshirt weather. It's spring is coming up on us. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But we're just walking. There's some cool businesses around here. There's a comic book store. Mainly gadgets here. Look. It's a keeper of a store. There's some restaurants over here that we're gonna be hitting up sometime soon, hopefully in the spring, summertime. I really love them. You know, they're quaint. You know, you can get any type of food that you want. Anything from Korean food. There's Korean right here. It's a restaurant called Somerville. There's some Thai noodles over there, and there's even a steakhouse down the road, which is called Wolfgang Steakhouse. Yeah, I haven't eaten there. I know it's going to be an expensive experience, but yeah, hopefully I'll hit it one day if I have enough money. If somebody wants to sponsor my meal at Wolfgang's, hit me up. Just me, not these two.
No, I want to go.
All right. I want to point out a cupcake place. Blue Sheep. Very good cupcakes. They also sell ice cream. But we're on Division Street. Just gonna do a pan around. This used to be a normal street. Here's some fans. You're on the vlog. But today, what we're gonna do is eat Filipino food. We're gonna rock some Filipino food today. We're at a restaurant called Pinoy. Let's check it out. Oh, it smells good in here. Hey, Tyrone, how are you?
Oh, I'm ready. Here for pictures?
Came to video, came to eat. These two are hungry. Hey, you opened this area.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, this is cool.
Sneaking out to get ice.
I'll say hi to her a little later.
She'll be out pretty soon.
So this restaurant has been here for, I would say, at least 4 years, 5 years or so. There used to be just a store selling Filipino goods, and then a few years back they turned it into a restaurant. It's been pretty successful. I mean, one of the first, if not the first Filipino restaurant in Somerville. There's some other restaurants around here in Raritan, but they're more of your typical Filipino, what we call turo-turo, or where they have the dishes laid out, and you basically just point, which is what turo means. You point, and that's what that is. They have it here as well. They have a buffet. 6 days a week when they're open, and the dishes change constantly, so which is good. They keep it fresh. It's not the same dishes over and over again. So they have specials for dishes, and also desserts. So like this, it comes in a. So yeah, be adventurous, try it out. When you come to Pinoy, you get pancit and rice. Rice is basically the staple of any Southeast Asian dish, or any Asian dish for that matter. But what we ordered were some pork barbecue skewers, the grilled pork, or what we call inihaw na liempo, which is pork belly. As you can probably tell, Filipinos love pork. So if you guys ever go to the Philippines, you're not going to get any shortages of pork dishes. And I think I've shared, or no, I haven't shared yet, but we're also very famous for our own lechon, or whole roasted suckling pig. So hopefully one day we get to experience that. So we will enjoy. This looks good, Tyrone. Looks really good. So I just gotta point this out. Filipinos eat with a fork and a spoon. This is what we call a Filipino knife. We cut everything with a spoon, so don't be weirded out, alright? So we just ran out of rice and noodles. So when you come here, and it's pretty dangerous, especially for me, it's unlimited rice and noodles. So if you run out, you know, they'll just get it refilled. Oh, the caldereta came. So we're gonna be. Caldereta is like beef stew. I'm hungry, I'm gonna dive in.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Kasi ten mo yung
hirap ang winter kasi wala pang shago sa bahay. Nakplan na yung aking ano.
Yung 2 weeks siguro pa.
2 weeks na mo. 3 weeks matagal.
After eating Filipino food, expect a nap. I didn't even eat that much carbs. And I'm ready to nap. But first, dessert, but not for me.
Sunday lang.
So, we are done. I didn't eat too much. Thank you.
Unfortunately, but
Thank
you
you.
had merchants complaining. You had merchants complaining that it was.
Good meal. Didn't really eat too much, but it's always good. The food is always freshly cooked. Yeah, when you're around here, if you're around here ever, give them a visit. Just to give you a little idea of what they have on a daily basis. They have the buffet, as I mentioned before, but they have this right here. So yeah, that's about $10. I'm gonna go get some coffee now. So I'll see you guys later. I'm cooking later on for dinner, so I am going to be videoing that as part of this Filipino going native food day. So I'll see you guys later.
3 hours later.
All right, to continue our Filipino Native Food Day, I'm gonna be cooking a fairly simple dish, but it's very tasty. As I mentioned in my previous video, Filipino food tends to be very flavorful, and this is no different. So the dish that we're cooking tonight for dinner is a very simple dish called bistec. I know that sounds like beef steak, and it was most likely a kind of a derivative of the word. It was, I guess, bastardized when it was developed, but it's a very simple dish to make. It has, you know, basic ingredients like meat, which is beef. What we're using is beef. We're also using some onions, and we're also using lemon juice. Those are basically the ingredients for this dish. Is beef, and don't go buying some very expensive cut of beef like filet mignon or anything. You can if you want, but this tends to be as far as the cut of beef is concerned, I mean, get one that's not too lean. Some fat, some marbling goes a long way with this dish. Makes it a little bit more flavorful. Also, the main ingredient, the main ingredient is beef. The other main ingredient is onions, which I have right here, and the juice of a lemon. You can use, I tend to use 1.5 to 2 lemons. You can use less if you want it a little less sour. I tend to like it because it adds to the sauce. So I tend to use 2 lemons for this dish. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and slice this beef. You're going to slice it thinly, not very, very thin, not paper thin, but make sure you slice it. I don't know how, but I'll show you when I'm done. So, boom. See, guys, that didn't take too long. So I went ahead and sliced the beef. Let me show you just how big of a slice I was talking about. It's not really too thin. It's not too thin. I don't know if that's even an eighth. So around that size. Don't make it too thin because it'll dry it up quicker. But yeah, I didn't use the whole 2 pieces of beef. So what we're gonna do is we're ready to saute the beef to cook it. Also, surprise, surprise, I'm making rice. This dish goes well with rice. A lot of people, including myself, like to eat it with ripe bananas as well. The next step is that I have my wok warming up. I have a little bit of oil in there, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually throw the beef in there, all of it. So all of that into the wok. So here we go. So there they all are, cooking away. So that's going to cook for about maybe 10-15 minutes or so. Yeah, and that's it. The one thing with this dish is that you don't want to overcook the beef. It's beef. You don't need to cook it so long that it becomes dark and hard. You know how beef gets when you grill it outside. If you ever grill a steak and it's overcooked, dries it out and it gets hard, and we're not going for that. We're going for maybe a little bit over medium rare, if that's even possible with the thin beef that I sliced. But yeah, don't overcook it. You don't need to, because there's several other, the next steps for this kind of continues to cook the beef. So stay tuned. So the beef is cooking right now. That's basically all you need to do. What I did is put it on high, so it sears the meat. As I mentioned before, we're not going to cook this for too long. It's still kind of raw right now. So all you need to do is basically stir it around. Since it's a lot of meat that we're cooking tonight, we have to make sure that we cook it. We cook all the pieces. Again, I hate electric stoves. with a passion, but this is what it is. Okay, boys and girls, we're almost there. You see that color change earlier? It was still kind of red and raw. You know, this is kind of medium rare now. Actually, I can still see kind of a little bit of raw beef, but not too much. So it's around medium rare, and that's what you want. And we're gonna give this a couple more minutes, and that's it. Basically, you know, the beef is done. The beef is done cooking, and if you get the right cut, beef chuck roast. I don't know if you can see that. There's like a little, got kind of saucy right there. That's what you want. We want that sauce. So, the one that's boiling right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and prepare the lemons for this dish. Probably saw the half a lemon that I had earlier. I'm gonna use this as well since we have a lot of meat. So I'm gonna be using 2.5 lemons. So all you need to do is basically cut it in half. You know how this goes. Grab your I have a lemon squeezer over here. And what I basically do is I basically just, you know, I go ahead and just squeeze lemons, you know, into the dish itself. So. Okay, last lemon. I actually decided to not use 2.5, but rather 2 lemons only, just because I was gonna I wanted to drink some tea tomorrow, and I remembered I don't have any more lemons. So, 2 is good. I think we're good with 2. The next step, to give this the ultimate flavor, is soy sauce. In this case, we're using Filipino brand soy sauce. You can, if you have an Asian supermarket by you, you can probably find it there. There's a couple of other brands that I use, but I think Filipino soy sauce, since it's a Filipino dish, you know, makes sense, and it gives it a unique flavor. You know, I used to use like Kikkoman before. That works, but Kikkoman is more of a dipping seasoning type of soy sauce. This is more of a cooking type soy sauce. So how much soy sauce do you need? That's totally up to you. This is, you know, to taste. So I'll usually pour a little bit, let it boil, mix it up a little bit. Now, let me just show you this a little bit. I mean, we do have a lot of meat in there, so I might need a few more. So I probably used maybe 1/4 cup, if that, or will use 1/4 cup. This particular soy sauce brand is not that salty, so you know, I can use a lot of it. Not a lot, but again, about 1/4 cup. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. I'm also gonna throw in some black pepper. Usually, I almost always use freshly fresh ground black pepper, but I don't have my mill. You know, this is a temporary dwelling for me, so I don't have my pepper mill. So I'm using the store-bought, you know, 10 million gallon Costco brand of black pepper, and it works. It's fine. That dish is basically done. I just want the flavors to incorporate a little bit more, so I'm gonna let it boil. While that boils, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prepare the last ingredient that, you know, just takes this dish, you know, to that level. So you probably already guessed what that ingredient is. The last ingredient is the onion. So all you need to do here is basically, you know, slice your onion basically peel it. So we got our onion peeled, and all you want to do is basically make onion rings. So, you know, I like my slices to be not too thin, because I like to actually eat the onions. So I'm gonna probably take half of this onion, one more, and just want to give it a stir. And what I basically like to do is I like breaking up the onions in there. You know, you can leave it whole if you want, but you know, traditionally this is how it's done. So you know, I like to do it this way. But some raw onion rings. I've never used, just because it has a strong flavor, I never used red onions in this dish. Red onions again tends to be a little bit more powerful. So as far as flavor is concerned, you know, I don't want it overwhelming the dish. But white onions and yellow onions seem to work, you know, the best. So use those. So all you need to do. This is done. That's all it is. It took about 40-45 minutes, including cook time. I'm gonna let it simmer a little bit and cook down the onions a little. Let it cook down. Well, and there you have it, guys. It's done. We're done. Still letting it simmer a little bit. Let the onion cook down. I'm gonna be stirring this, but you know, we're basically done. I hope you enjoyed that. I think it's a very simple dish, but it's again, it's a very flavorful dish, and very easy to prepare. Again, it took us about 40-45 minutes to do, including prep time and cook time. So try it out. You know, comment below and also subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And yeah, leave me a comment if you have any questions regarding this dish.